Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So we're continuing with our DIY beauty treatment series, and what I thought I would show you is some easy face and body exfoliating treatments using some store cupboard, kitchen ingredients. I've counted 7, so I'll let you know as we go, and the theory is that what we're going to do is actually create a scrub which we're ramping up with lots of different properties each time we add another ingredient in. So you don't need to use all of the ingredients, you can switch them out. You could put them all in. In theory, you could eat it, but you probably won't want to eat it. But I think this is really good fun because it's using all of these ingredients. They're going to have effects on your skin anyway. Arguably, it can make for a messier bath or shower or if it's a facial treatment. But when you think about it, I mean, as you can see, we're starting with oats. How often do you buy a product and it'll say that it's got extract of oat protein, all these things that they say? We're just going back to basics, and it's good fun as well. Lets you see what you can do. So the reason that I wanted to do this is because my winter issue is definitely dry skin, but it tends just to be on my hands, and the really weird thing is it tends to be knuckles and fingers. And there's nothing I can do about it when I'm in the real middle of the winter, because it's just dryness in the air everywhere. It's dryness in the car when the heaters are on. It's the central heating in the house. It's when you're out and about, you've got extremes of temperature. And it just drains all of the moisture out of the air and then all of the moisture out your skin. And then the dryness and the redness in my knuckles will actually go away as soon as the seasons change and the moisture in the air starts to increase. So obviously it's not the worst thing in the world, and I get it mildly, but it can still be annoying. So even if it's very mild or if it's severe, then so long as you're not allergic to something or you don't have broken or inflamed skin, then you might want to give elements of this a try. But again, always do your research. If you're in any doubt, chat with your doctor just to make sure. Now, I should also say that if I've got really dry skin and it's really sore, and it can be sometimes here, we get just, your snow. We tend to get the snow that comes a wee bit later in the year now. And when it's really bad and it's just freezing outside and it's like the extremes of very cold and then you're into the warmth, that'll be sometime when I'll use something like Savlon cream, because it's heavy duty moisturising, but it's also antibacterial and antiseptic. So if I'm concerned that I might get a bit of broken skin, which touch wood I haven't, then I would use something like Savlon E45, something like that. So what this is an oat scrub that we're going to ramp up with these different ingredients. And what I'll do is, as I add them, we're going to tell you what the benefits and effects are on the skin. You can always make these in advance, but say because it's really fresh ingredients, I would just make them as I go. So if you feel like doing a facial treatment, just make enough for your face. If you want to make it a face and body and just have a pamper day, just make enough in a bowl for that day and just use it that day. I wouldn't bother about keeping it, and that way it's extremely fresh and you know that there's not a chance that anything will have turned or gone off. So we're going to start with oats. Now, the benefits of oats, as someone said on the previous video when we did the oat scrub for the hands, oat baths have been recommended for many years just as a very soothing bath if you've got dry skin, eczema, psoriasis, because the oats actually within the water help to soothe the skin and take the itch out. So the benefits of oats are that they're antioxidant, they help to tackle inflammation. As I was saying, they're quite effective on itching, dermatitis, eczema, perfect for things like that. They're soothing, they can be healing, and they can be very moisturising. So we're going to start with the oats. Now, obviously, because your oats here are not blended, then there's a little bit of an exfoliating property here because we're going to be scrubbing the face and the body. Again, it's your choice. So what we're going to do to ramp that up now is we're going to add a little bit of olive oil. So I'm just going to add what I would consider to be a tablespoon or roundabout. But again, judge it as you go, because you're looking for something that's obviously easy to work with. You're looking for almost a paste. So if I've not got enough oil in, I'll soon be able to tell. But I'm adding more ingredients in as we go, so that's okay. So I'm going to be quite happy with that amount of oil just now because it's going to do what I want it to do. And just think, at this point in time, if we didn't do this, we could be making something like flapjacks. Always thinking about food. So, benefits of olive oil. It's also antioxidant. It's very good for any dryness. So a lot of people you'll hear, they'll say, why does your gran, your aunt, people, why is their skin so good? And they'll say, oh, they use olive oil on their skin. So a lot of people do believe it's effective for treating the signs of aging on the skin. But as you know, there's no miracle for reducing time, removing wrinkles. And why would you want to? Because it's actually a sign that you're getting older, and that is a gift. So treating the signs of aging, i.e. making your skin look as good as you can. Very good for treating hydration, and olive oil is very nourishing. So that's us got our olive oil in here. So I do have a little cloth here because this is going to get messy. So I'll just take a little bit off on the cloth. So that's our olive oil. Now what can we do to ramp that up? We can add in another ingredient, and what I'm going to add in is just a little bit of honey. So I'll add in a little teaspoon of honey. Here we go. Trying to make it as clean and tidy as possible. So I'll put the lid back on, and that's going to come off the spoon. And what I'll do is I'll just mix it with the spoon just now. So again, our oil and the honey will work together. Now, bearing in mind, I'm just doing a little bit of a tester here, so you don't have to worry about saying, well, that's not very much, that's not going to do much for you. This is just to let you see. So keep working that. The honey will work with the oil, and it'll loosen your scrub. And I can always add more of anything if I choose to. And I'm going to put a little bit on my hand when we're done too. So I'll keep my spoon in here. And the benefits of honey. Now, it's another antioxidant. So remember, those antioxidants are helping to treat free radicals that damage the skin. Now, honey is antibacterial, so that's also really effective if you've got any breakouts in the skin, if you have any spots, any mild acne, papules, pustules. The honey is antibacterial, so that's going to help with that. Honey is also moisturising, so look, we're adding the layers of moisturisation in. We've got 3 different ingredients here that are all helping with moisture in the skin. It's also soothing, but with honey, you're advised to wet the skin first, because if you just try to put honey directly onto the skin, it's too sticky and you're going to find that it's not really going to move anywhere. So if you wet the skin first, then you're going to give the honey a little ability to move about and get working on the skin. But again, we've got some oil in here, so that's going to work in our favour and work with that honey. So that's our 3rd ingredient if we want to make a really, really effective, really potent body and face scrub. But what else could we add? We could actually add in some sugar. So I will sprinkle in what's roughly a tablespoon of sugar, roughly. And remember, the grainier, the chunkier the sugar, the chunkier the scrub. Now, you don't need to add in honey and sugar. You could switch out your honey for sugar. But remember, you're not eating it, you're working with it on the skin. Sugar is going to ramp up that exfoliation. And again, that's quite a fine sugar that I've used. But if I used a really, really chunky one, like you see in your body scrubs that you can buy in the shops, then you can imagine the chunkier, the grittier, the more of an effective and exfoliating result you will see on the skin. And again, I'm quite happy with this texture, but if I wasn't, I would loosen that down with a little bit more oil, which I can do if I want to at the end. But again, I don't want it too runny and then it just goes everywhere. So I can feel that and I'm happy with it. And again, I'll show you on my skin when we're done. So that's how that's looking. It's really hard not to want to eat some, but I won't. Benefits of sugar when it's in your scrub. As I just said, it's going to be exfoliating. Now, as I said to you in previous videos, you can use salt if you want to, but the reason that I like the sugar is it's non-scratchy, so you're going to get your exfoliating result, but it's not going to scratch and irritate the skin. Believe it or not, sugar's actually moisturising and it can help to hydrate the skin, and the reason is that it's a humectant. And what that means is it's drawing moisture from the air and into the skin. So a lot of the time when you're buying your moisturisers, your products, and it'll say it's got a humectant in it, sugar is a natural humectant. So there you go. You might not have known that, but sugar's actually going to help to moisturise that skin too. But what could we add again that's going to help this face and body scrub? We could add a little bit of desiccated coconut. So I'm almost finished this packet. I'm going to again aim for around about a tablespoon. And remember, you don't have to add them all. You can if you want, but you could switch out the sugar for the coconut. So why would you be adding desiccated coconut? Now, this can dry out the scrub. So if you felt that it was becoming a bit too dry, you could add in a touch more oil, but I'm going to wait until the end to see how everything feels and looks when I've got my final ingredient in. And if it's getting stuck to the spoon, obviously, you can just make sure everything's nice and mixed. Right, so our scrub is coming along nicely. So the benefits of adding desiccated coconut to your scrub. It's also non-scratchy in a similar vein to the sugar. It's another soothing ingredient, and the coconut, even in desiccated form, has got natural oils in it. And what happens with these natural oils is they will be released when you're working with the scrub, and they will also hydrate your skin. And that again is adding to the moisturising properties of the scrub. So think about it, just with these ingredients, you're adding a lot of moisturising properties, you're exfoliating, and you're also helping with that dryness. So you can see things that you wouldn't actually consider as being effective on your skin, just from your store cupboard, all of them working together, if you layer them up, can help to get a very, very moisturising product. But guess what? You could add something else in. We could add in some cinnamon. So again, I'm going to add in more like a teaspoon rather than a tablespoon. And I'll put that down. Very carefully, don't want to spill it. So we'll give the cinnamon a nice mix in. And as you can imagine, this does smell really good. And because I'm now moving on to my drier ingredients, this is when I might decide, as I say, just to loosen it off with a bit more oil if I feel I need to. But you might as well wait till the end. So the cinnamon gets a mix in, and again, you might decide, no, I don't actually want an exfoliating scrub, I want more moisturising today, so I'll skip out the sugar and I'll skip out the desiccated coconut. That's your choice. So that's us now got our cinnamon in the mix. So what are the benefits of cinnamon? It's another antioxidant, so it's helping with those free radicals that damage your skin. You might not know it, but cinnamon is antibacterial. It's also antifungal. So if you wanted to do a scrub, maybe focusing on the feet, maybe you get issues with your feet and you feel that it's just an area that always gives you issue, then you could use the scrub and pay special attention to the feet. Because cinnamon is naturally warming, it also boosts circulation. So when you're boosting the circulation, you're obviously helping to bring moisture to that area because you're giving the blood a boost, you're warming up the area, and with it comes all the different nutrition, all the nice parts from the blood, it brings it all to the surface. And again, when you get a warmth there, you start to see, now I don't think you would see an erythema with this cinnamon because it's very mild, but the more that you scrub, you might get an erythema because you're actually working with the product, and that's how you're bringing more of the blood to the surface, in addition with those mild properties that the cinnamon will bring. So by putting the cinnamon into the mix, but also really working with your scrub and working in your circles over that area and paying attention, that's how you can get your erythema. And with the cinnamon being in there, it's going to help boost the circulation in multiple ways. So that means that you're also getting your moisture boost with the cinnamon too. So you might not realise that cinnamon is actually a very useful ingredient in a DIY beauty treatment. But there's one more ingredient that you could use, and you could add it as we are, which I'm going to do today, or you could swap this out for the cinnamon, and that is to use some cocoa powder. And again, we'll aim for a teaspoon. Now remember, it's not drinking chocolate, it's cocoa powder. Your drinking chocolate's going to be predominantly sugars and things like that, sweeteners. We're looking for cocoa powder. So let's add that in. And yes, I could eat this. Can you imagine just putting this into the oven and letting it dry out, and it could be a topping for yogurt or I could put it on top of a crumble. I know I shouldn't be saying that, but just, it's all my favourite ingredients. So that is your cocoa powder in it. I'm actually quite happy with the texture of that because I don't want it to be too loose. I could maybe loosen it a touch. I'll do it one with, one without. And I'll just make sure that there's no powder left on the spoon and give that a good wee mix. So what are the benefits of the cocoa powder? Guess what? It's very rich in antioxidants. It also treats inflammation, and cocoa powder is known for being effective on blemishes and redness. So if you wanted to focus this on the face, or maybe you get breakouts on the chest, the neck and the back, that could be the perfect ingredient. So you might say, right, I'm going to do my scrub, but I'm going to focus on the oats, the olive oil, and then I'm going straight for the cocoa powder. So you're almost mixing and matching to suit. And the other thing about cocoa powder is it's actually very soothing on the skin too. So can you imagine with all of these ingredients, this is like a super scrub. It's got everything in it. But can you imagine if you just know all of these ingredients and what they do? You now have the power to mix and match those ingredients and say, this week I'm going to focus on this set of ingredients. Then the following week, oh, I feel as if I've got a little bit of a breakout. I'm going to focus on this set of ingredients. The oats and the olive oil could always be your base. And then from the oat and olive oil base, you could just mix and match your add-ins to create the scrub for face and body that you're looking for that week. I think that's brilliant. And then what I would do is just make it as and when I want to and just make the amount that I want. So I'll bring my oil up to hand and I'll try a little bit. Now, remember, I haven't put any water on, I haven't activated, so I might actually have to get a little bit of water or I might not. Now that's how it looks as it is. So you can see that it wants to crumble off, but I can definitely scrub and then it's just going to fall back into the bowl. But that's okay because you're expecting it to be a little bit messy. These DIY treatments are on the messy side. But then once I've scrubbed, I'm actually using the exfoliating element to warm up the skin. And I'm doing my circles. And I can actually see the redness already there. Obviously the redness is underneath the colour of the scrub. But I can see that I've got an erythema going on there. And because I want to focus on my knuckles, I'm just spending a little bit of time there. But then if I wanted to get the full results, say I was going for a bath, I could use it on face and body. And then anything that's left over, if I was prepared to give the bath a little clean at the end, I could actually just let everything else fall into the bath and let the ingredients within it absorb into the water and then just sit in the water and let it all just soak within the skin. So you could easily do that. But what I'll do is I'll add a little bit more oil and we'll see how it looks when you actually loosen it down a bit. But again, just remember it is one of your messier treatments, but if you see it as a bit of fun, which I do, just see it as fun, see it as something that you know is not just going to be squeezing something out of a tube. So this is it when it's loosened down. And you can see that's much more pliable. But it's still going to be messy, I have to be honest. But still good fun. I do enjoy this. I think it's knowing as well that you are in control of what's in the product and you're in control of how much you're creating, what you're putting in it, if you're using just enough for today, if you know that you're focusing on the soothing element or if you're focusing on the anti-redness element. I like that. Right, so here we go. Being left-handed gets a bit awkward. Right, so this is much looser now. So can you see it's still going to go into the bowl, but it's much more of a traditional scrub. I've got my scrub element and then I've got much more oil to work with. So because I've got much more oil to work with, I'm getting more of a traditional scrub texture. So I would be happy with the thicker or the thinner, but I would say it comes down to what you're looking for and how much, as we say, of the slip and slide that you want. But see, just working on those knuckles, what I like about this is it is non-scratchy. Without a doubt, it's non-scratchy, but I can feel the exfoliation and the properties in it because I know that it's got the oats. The oats are a gentle exfoliator. The sugar is dissolving as I'm working with it. The desiccated coconut is in there, but I can't feel it, and it's just very gently doing its job. And the smell, it's predominantly a very gentle cocoa smell. That's the main smell that I'm getting, but it's a very subtle cocoa smell with a hint of cinnamon. And I like it, it's lovely. So, not going to lie to you, it is messy, but effective. So I'll give my hand a little clean. And that is our DIY body scrub. So I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me what you think. Look, I've still got it on me. I need to go and wash my hands. Tell me if you like that, if you'd like to see more. And as always, I'm happy to take requests. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.